And about 3 more. And 2 more breaths. And now 1 more. Now open your mouth and exhale. Let your arms float up and overhead. Reach up high. Bring the palms together and interlace the fingers, and then stretch the palms towards the sky. So we've inverted the palms. Lift your chin up and look towards the hands, and then press up a little bit more. And now draw your navel in, and then bring the arms out to a T. With the palms facing down, bring the right hand down, reach the left hand up and over. Press down on the left sitting bone as you reach through that left wrist. Engage the core as you come back up, and then bring your left hand down, reach your right hand up and over. Stretch it out. On an inhale, rise up. And let's just flow from side to side. Stretching and reaching. Keep it going another time or 2. Starting to stretch out the side bodies. Also works on the hips a little bit. And then inhale back to center, arms out to a T. Take a twist to your left and plant your left hand down behind you. Press the left palm into the mat. Reach the right hand up to the sky. And then lift your gaze up so you're looking at the thumb on your right hand. Press into the left palm and reach up through the right hand even more. Now on an inhale, bring the weight off the left hand and rise back up, palms face to the left. Reach the hands apart from one another. Back to center. Reach the arms high. And exhale the hands to heart center. On an inhale, back up. Exhale the arms to a T. Reach the hands apart from one another. Take your twist to the right and plant the right hand behind you. Reach up through the left hand and then look up towards the thumb on the left hand as you press into the right palm. Press into the right palm a little more. Reach up through the left hand just a bit more. And now take the weight off the right hand as you rise back up, palms face to the right. Take a deep breath. And exhale and bring it back to center. Bring your hands to your knees now. Going to pull the hands into the knees, and as you do that, lift your chin. Press your chest up towards the sky and try and draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Take a deep breath, and then as you exhale, bring your chin towards your chest. Round your back as you draw your navel in towards your spine. Bend the elbows. Forehead comes down a little, not all the way down. Inhale and up. We're just going to go through that twice more. Lifting the chin and exhale, bringing chin to chest, drawing the navel in, rounding the spine. One more time. Inhale up and exhale down and then back to center. Take a deep breath. Whew. Now reach the arms out to a T. Let's just make little circles. Slow it down. A lot of coughing going on. Maybe it's sympathetic coughing. Larger circles. We're just opening up the muscles in the upper part of the back, the shoulder muscles. Get them working. Bigger circles. And then back the other way. And now the circles are going to get smaller. And smaller. I feel little crunchy things going on in my in the back of my shoulders. Until the circles almost completely stop. And then release it. Reach your arms high. Interlace fingers second time. Press the knuckle or the palms towards the sky. Lift your gaze up. And then as you exhale, bring the hands all the way down. And then roll over the knees. Let's find table pose now. Once you're in table pose, just check in with the alignment. Make sure your hands are under your shoulders and your knees are right under your hips. Draw your navel up a little bit so you're not arching the lower part of the spine too much. Now inhale to cow pose. Lift your chin. And then exhale to cat. As you press your hands into the mat, let your forehead come closer to your knees and press the middle of the back towards the sky. Inhale to cow pose. And exhale to cat. Keep it going 5 more times through. Inhaling to cow pose and then exhaling to cat. Wonderful here to let your eyes close down if you like. feeling the flow of the breath again. This time notice how your body relates to the flow of the breath. That is, how does your body react as you breathe in? How does your body react as you breathe out? Twice more through. And one more time. And then bring it back to neutral, back to table pose. Now reach your left hand forward with the palm facing up. Reach back through the right heel, lifting that right leg off of the mat. The heel about the same level as the hip, the hand about the same level as the shoulder. One more breath. Now point through the toes of the right foot. Stretch the toes away from the fingertips of the left hand. And then bring elbow towards knee and round the spine. And then reach back out. Bring the left hand down. Keep the foot up. Now press through the heel of the right foot and rotate the toes to the right. Bend the right knee and bring it forward, keeping the knee as high as you can, maybe touching the shoulder, and then press back through the right heel. Do that a second time, bringing the knee forward, touching the shoulder if you can, and then pressing back. We're really opening up that hip joint on the right side. One more time, knee comes forward, and then press it straight back. Now rotate the toes so they point down and press through the heel. That right leg is straight. Now point the toes on the right foot, bend the right knee, and then lift the knee up as you lift your chin high. This is tiger pose. Press your hands into the mat, lift your chin a little higher, lift your knee a little higher, and then release by bringing the knee towards the chin. Touch the chin with the knee if you can, and then bring the right knee down so it meets the left knee. Press your hips to the right, and to the left, and to the right, and to the left. One more time, hips to the right, and hips to the left, and then bring them back to center. This time reach your right hand forward, thumb pointing up, and then reach the left leg back, press through the heel to begin. Reach through the fingertips of the right hand, and now you can point the toes on the left foot if you like. Gaze is down towards the mat, so the top of your head is reaching forward towards me. And now elbow comes towards knee. Let the spine round and then reach back out. And then bring the right hand down. Press through the heel of that left foot and rotate the toes 90 degrees to the left. Now bend the left knee and bring it forward, maybe touching the shoulder. Keep the knee as high as you can, and then press straight back. Twice more, bending the knee, bringing it forward towards the shoulder, and press straight back. One more time, knee comes forward, and then press it straight back. Now point the toes down, then point through the toes, bend the left knee 90 degrees, and then lift your gaze. Lift your chin a little bit higher, lift the knee a little bit higher if you like. Stay with it. And now bring knee forward, touch the chin if you can, and then bring the left knee down. And press the hips to the left, and to the right, and to the left, and to the right. One more time, to the left, and then to the right, and then bring them back to center. Let's open up the hips even a little bit more. Walk your hands forward so the hands come forward about one hand length. Try and keep your hips right over your knees. Now press the hips to the right. We're just going to make circles. We do this all the time. And then bring the weight forward over the hands, elbows straight, and then hips to the left. And then press the hips back, keeping the hands where they are. And then over to the right, and then forward and to the left. And back to the right. And one more time around. And then when you're done, when you've done 3, just pause, and you guessed it, go back the other way. 3 times back the other way. Twice more. Really opening up those hip joints now. Also works on the shoulders a bit here. And last one. And then back to a neutral spine. Once you're there, table pose, walk the hands back under the shoulders, then tuck your toes and lift your hips, finding our very first downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in downward dog, and then as you exhale, begin to walk the feet forward to the hands. And eventually you'll end up in a standing forward fold at the front of the mat. Once you're there, bend your knees a bit, particularly if your hamstrings are tight. Mine are really tight this morning. I'm not sure why. Maybe yours are too. Maybe bend the knees even more so you can rest your whole upper body on the thighs. Now keep the weight in the front of the feet and slowly rise up. Come all the way up and then let your arms float high. And exhale, bringing the hands to heart center. Can you hear me okay now? Yeah? On an inhale, up and back. And then fold forward, half lift. Hands to the top of the shins. Exhale, release the hands down. And step the left foot back, or the right foot back rather, keeping the left foot forward. And then step the left foot back, meeting it in plank pose. Remember, the hands in plank are just slightly ahead of the shoulders, so I don't want the hands directly under the shoulders. Now bring your knees to the mat. Pick your feet up off the mat so the knees bend, and then chin and chest come to the mat. Press your pubic bone into the mat and rise to Cobra Pose. The feet can come down to the mat now. Press the top of the feet into the mat, and then release. Now tuck your toes, push to plank, and lift your hips into our second downward facing dog. You can go ahead and pedal it out a little bit here if you like, bending one knee and then the other, pressing the tailbone up and back. So keep the spine as long as you can. A couple more times through. And then on an inhale, reach the left leg up. Maybe lift it even a little bit higher if you can so you feel that great stretch in the back of the right leg. And then step your left foot forward, bringing the left foot all the way between the hands. Now step the right foot forward so it meets the left foot, and we're back to a standing forward fold. Let your head drop down. Now arms come out to a T. As you do that, bring the weight into the front of the feet, so you're pressing into the bottom of the toes, and then slowly rise. Spine stays nice and long as you come up. And then once you're all the way up, reach your arms high. Look up to the palms, bring them together, and then bring your hands to heart center. Take a breath. Wow, what a gorgeous morning it is. It's so, I just realized it is so beautiful. I feel so lucky to be out here. On an inhale, up and back, find a back bend. And now fold forward. Come to a half lift again. And exhale, release the hands all the way down to the mat. This time the right foot stays forward, the left foot steps all the way back into runner's lunge. And then the right foot steps back so it meets the left foot in our second plank pose. Take a breath in plank. And then on the exhale, bring the knees to the mat. Here, remember to untuck the toes. You can pick the feet up off the mat a little bit if you like. Now make an effort to bring your chest and your chin to the mat. So we're inchworming our way into Cobra Pose. Now press the pubic bone down as we come into the back bend. Elbows tucked in nice and close to the body. So try not to flare the elbows out. That can be kind of hard on the shoulders. And then release. Tuck your toes now as you push to plank, and then find downward facing dog again. Now stretch it out. Press the heels down towards the mat as you press your hands into the mat and reach the tailbone up and back. On an inhale, reach your left leg high, a little higher even if you can, so you feel that stretch in the back of the right leg. Beautiful. Now step your right foot all the way forward, the left foot all the way forward so it comes between the hands. Yeah, the right foot would be hard. Yeah, I know, it was confusing. I'm sorry. And the right foot follows into a standing forward fold. We're back to where we began. Let your head drop down now. Take opposite elbows here if you want to. And remember to bring the weight into the front of the feet. Maybe to the point where you feel like you're almost going to tip forward. Now let your neck muscles relax. Shake your head yes and no to remind the neck muscles that they can release at this point. They do not need to hold the head up. Now keep opposite elbows. Keep the weight in the front of the feet and rise. Nice and slow. And then once you come all the way up, keep opposite elbows. Reach the elbows high. Bring the feet about hip width apart, but parallel to one another. Stretch up even higher through the elbows. Now press the hips to the left and reach through that left elbow a little bit more than the right. And then back to center and over to the other side. On an inhale, rise back up, reach through the elbows, and then little bend to the left, to the right, and back to center, and over to the left. Press the hips to the right. Reach through that right elbow. One more time on each side, reaching up and stretching. Nice side stretch, back to center. Last time. And then bring it back to center. Reach the elbows high. And then pull the elbows back. Lift your gaze up. Bring the weight into the front of the feet a little bit. Press the chest up towards the sky, deepening the back bend. Now reach the elbows high, and then release and swan dive. Forward fold, half lift, and then exhale, releasing the hands all the way down to the mat. Now the right foot stays forward, the left foot steps back into runner's lunge. Bring your left knee to the mat, untuck the toes on that left foot, press the top of the left foot into the mat, and rise. Low crescent lunge. We've been here before, haven't we? Press that right knee forward a little bit more. Remember, you can regulate the extent of the stretch you feel in this pose. And you can do that by pressing the right knee forward a little bit more. And if it's not giving you enough, you can scoot the left knee back just a bit. So even half an inch will make a big difference. Now bring the arms out to a T. Take a deep breath. Exhale, take a twist, palms face to the right. And then back to center. Reach the arms high. And exhale the hands to heart center. Inhale back up. Exhale the arms to a T. Take your twist again, same side to the right. And back to center. Arms reach high and to heart center. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale to a T. And take your twist to the right. And then back to center. Now reach the arms up high and then bring them down on either side of the right foot. Tuck your toes and straighten the left leg, pressing the left heel back. Now straighten the right leg. Pull the right hip back and pull the left hip forward. Try and keep your spine long and about parallel to the mat. Pull the right hip back a little more. Left hip pulls forward just a bit more. And then bend the right knee. Step the left foot forward so it meets the right foot and let your head drop down. Now interlace the fingers behind your back, reach your knuckles towards the sky, and let your head drop down. You can bend your knees a little bit, maybe bring the weight more into the front of the feet. Let your head drop down. The neck muscles release completely here if you can. Now release the hands all the way down to the mat and step your right foot back into runner's lunge. Now straighten the left leg. We're going to do things in a little different order here. Pull the left hip back. Reach the right hip forward. So rotating the hips, pulling the left hip back or the right hip back. The left hip pulls forward. Spine stays long and about parallel to the mat. Shoulders are nice and level if you can. Now bend the left knee. Bring the right knee to the mat. Remember to untuck the toes and reach the arms high. Press that left knee forward just a little bit more as you reach up through the wrists. Now the arms out to a T. Take a deep breath. Exhale, take your twist to the left. Palms face to the left. So I'm talking to you guys on the left. Hopefully you can hear me now. And back to center. Reach the arms high. Palms together and to heart center. Inhale up. Exhale the arms to a T. Take your twist to the left again. Reach that left hand back. And inhale back to center. Arms reach high. And to heart center. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale out to a T. Take your twist to the left. Take a breath. And then back to center. Arms reach high. And exhale the hands to heart center. Release the hands all the way down. Now tuck your toes and the right knee comes off the mat as you straighten the right leg. Now step the left foot back into plank pose. Take 3 breaths now in plank, pressing the hands into the mat. Elbows are straight, shoulders are rising up. The gaze is straight down, so you're looking kind of between your thumbs, more or less. One more breath. Now flow through a vinyasa, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga into upward facing dog. Pause there for a breath or two. And then downward facing dog. Now bend your knees and take a hop or walk. In any event, the feet end up eventually between the hands with the head dropping down. Interlace the fingers again behind the back, reaching the knuckles high. Then press into the front of the feet as you come up. Keep the fingers interlaced, elbows straight. Once you're up, pause for a moment. Press the knuckles down towards the heels. And remember to draw the navel in towards the spine a little. And then release the hands. Reach them high. And then to heart center. And then let the hands come all the way down to your side with the palms facing forward. 3 breaths. The birds are amazing. The little breeze feels good. 1 more breath. Now let the arms come up. And then to heart center. Leave them there. Take a deep breath. And then as you exhale, bend your knees and come into chair pose. Now see if you can bring weight back into the heels even a little bit more so your toes are floating. Now chair twist, left elbow, right knee. The right elbow reaches up high. And back to center. Bring the weight back into the heels. And then over to the other side, right elbow to left knee. And back to center. Now reach the arms up into chair pose. Maybe straighten the legs a little bit if you want, but try and keep the weight in the heels and the feet roughly parallel to one another. Now straighten the legs, reach up, and a beautiful slow swan dive down like you're jumping off a cliff. Little cliff diving, come to a half lift. And then release the hands all the way down to the mat. 3/4 step back with the left foot. The right foot stays forward. And then rise to warrior 1 pose with the arms reaching high. So the right knee is bent. The toes on the right foot are pointing straight forward. And the hips are pretty much square to the front of the mat. There you go. Bring your left foot over a little bit more. And toes point kind of up to here. Other way. There you go. You got it. That's it. That's perfect. Now bring the hands behind you, interlace your fingers, and straighten the elbows as we open up the chest again. Press the knuckles towards the back heel. Keep your spine long, hinge at the hip, and bring the right shoulder down to the right knee, and let it land there if you can. Then reach your knuckles up high and let your head drop down. Keep the right knee bent. 1 more breath. Now press into the right foot and come up nice and slow. And then once you're all the way up, release the hands and reach them high. Now arms out to a T, palms face down. Keep the spine long. We're going to come down again. Right shoulder to right knee if you can. Press into the right foot and slowly rise back up. Once you're all the way up, arms reach high. Now bend the right elbow. Bring the back of the right hand to the sacrum and press the back of the hand into the sacrum pretty vigorously. Reach up through the left hand, keep the right knee bent. Really working the quads on that right leg, aren't we? Now reach through the left hand, come down halfway, rest your right shoulder if you can on the knee, then press into the right foot and rise all the way back up. Whew! Release the right hand back up. Now straighten the right leg. Reach through the fingertips. Come all the way down, bringing the hands down to the mat. This is pyramid pose. Reach the head towards the big toe on the right foot. Lengthening the spine, creating lots of sensation in the back of the right leg. Now bend your right knee. And rise back to warrior one. Arms reach high. Whew. How's everybody doing? Good? All right. Now, we're going to do something we've been doing a little bit the last week or two, and that is transitioning from warrior one to warrior three. And to do that, actually, let's bring the hands to heart center. To do that, bring the weight into the right foot. And once you feel all the weight is in the right foot, the left foot is just going to lift up naturally, and you're going to find yourself pretty much in warrior three. Refine the pose, reaching the head forward, pressing back through the left foot, doing the best that you can. Your balance today. Whatever it is, it's awesome. Stay with it and accept it. Now bring both hands down to the mat. Let's find a standing splits. Here, it's important to bend the elbows so the shoulders can descend, the head can drop down. Maybe lift that left leg up a little bit higher if you like. Now bend the right knee and step way back with the left foot. Spin the left heel to the mat and rise to warrior two. Whew. Check in with your alignment in warrior two. Make sure the toes on the right foot are pointing straight forward. Toes on the left foot are pointing off to the left. Now a reverse warrior. Left hand comes down to the back of the leg. Right hand reaches up and over. Rebend that right knee, pressing the right knee forward. You're going to feel it in the quads on that right leg, I'm pretty sure. And now extended side angle. Some relief now for the quads. Reach through the left hand. And then rise back to warrior two. Take a breath. And then cartwheel the hands down on either side of the right foot. Come up onto the ball of that left foot, and then the right foot steps back to plank pose. Find 3 breaths now in plank, just like we did before, pressing the hands away from the shoulders, pressing the hands deeply into the mat. 1 more breath, and now flow through a vinyasa. Come to upward facing dog. Elbows straight here, knees off the mat if you can, and then when you're ready, downward facing dog. Stretch it out now. Now take a bend in the knees, and we're going to do our hop. Feet end up between the hands eventually. Let your head drop down. Now with your chin on your chest, let your spine round as you rise. Remember to draw the navel up towards the spine as you rise. That'll help you keep the spine rounded. Then the arms float high. Exhale the hands to heart center, bend the knees, and come back down to chair pose. Where'd the sun go? That made me unhappy. Now a chair twist. Left elbow to right knee. Spine stays long. Good job. And over to the other side. Right elbow to left knee. Spine still nice and long. And back to center. Reach back up. Knees stay bent. Chair pose. Now straighten the legs. Reach up. And swan dive. Forward fold. Come to a half lift. And then exhale. Release the hands all the way down to the mat. This time right foot 3/4 step back. And then rise to warrior one. And here, remember, we're going to square the hips to the front of the mat. You're all color coordinated, Jill.
It's purely accident.
Looks good, Barbara. Good, Nancy. Maybe bend the left knee a little bit more. See what happens. Yeah. What'll happen is you'll strengthen the left knee. Also strengthen the glutes. Yeah. Right hip forward a little more. There you go. All right. Well, we've got our left foot forward and right foot back. Reach the arms up and overhead. Now interlace the fingers behind the back. Straighten the elbows as you press the knuckles towards that back heel, the right heel. Chest nice and open. Take a big deep breath into that space you're creating. Now keep your spine long, hinge at the hips, and bring the left shoulder down to the left knee. Knuckles reach up and overhead as you let your head drop down. You can let that left shoulder rest on the left knee if you're able to. Now press into that left foot and rise. Nice and slow coming up. Once you're all the way up, release the hands, reach them high, and then arms come out to a T with the palms facing down. We're going to come down again, bringing the left shoulder to the left knee, reaching the hands apart from one another in this airplane variation. Let the shoulder land, and then slowly rise all the way back up. Reach the arms high, and exhale the hands to heart center. On an inhale, up. Now, biceps stay on either side of the ears. Hinge at the hips, and come all the way down. And then rise all the way back up. Now straighten the right leg. Pull the right hip back. Pull your left hip forward just a bit. And now bring the hands all the way down to the mat. Nice and slow. Spine stays long. Once you're in pyramid pose, see if you can refine the pose by pulling your right hip back a little bit. Left hip pulls forward just a bit. Deepening the sensation in the back of that left leg. And then bend the right knee, the left knee, and rise back up. Hands come to heart center. This is the part where we do the transition to warrior 3. Just bring the weight into the left foot so the right foot floats. And just pause there for a moment, and then very slowly lift that the right foot up a little bit and let your head come down. Then press through that left heel or the toes, the right heel or the toes on that right foot, and let yourself come into warrior 3. Stay with it. One more breath. Beautiful. Release the hands down now in front of the foot. Reach the right leg up as we come into standing splits. Let your forehead come a little closer to the knee or the shin. One more breath in standing splits. Now bend the left knee. Step way back with the right foot. Then spin the right heel to the mat and rise to warrior 2. First time in warrior 2 on this side. And we have our left foot forward and our right foot back. See if you can bend that left knee just a little bit more. Check in with your shoulders. Make sure the shoulders are parallel to the long edge of the mat. Hips are parallel to the long edge of the mat as well. Arms reaching out. Now left hand comes down, right hand reaches up and over. This is reverse warrior pose. Bend the right knee a little bit more, pressing the right knee forward and trying to keep the hips parallel to the long edge of the mat. Now extended side angle pose. Bring the elbow to the knee, reach with the left hand, and then rise back to warrior 2. Take a breath in warrior 2. And then bring the hands down on either side of that left foot. Come up onto the ball of the back foot. Step the left foot back. Plank pose. Let's find 3 breaths again in plank. And one more. Beautiful. Now flow through your vinyasa, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga and upward facing dog. And when you're ready, downward facing dog. Stretch it out. Now bend the knees. And can you take a hop even if it's just a few inches? Maybe another one. We're going to do bunny hops until we get to standing forward fold at the front of the mat. Once you're there, let your head drop down. Let it get even heavier. Now the arms come out to a T, and let's do a reverse swan dive to rise, keeping the spine long. And then the arms float high, and exhale the hands, bringing them to heart center. Take a breath now. Now, leave your right foot forward and step the left foot back. Spin the left heel to the mat. Both legs are straight. Now pivot on the right heel so that we find a wide-legged stance facing towards the left side of the mat. Bring the arms out to a T. Keep your spine long, hinge at the hips, and come halfway down so your spine is parallel to your mat. Press into the pinky toes. Now rotate the right hand down, press it right into the mat or the grass or the floor below your face. Reach the left hand high. This is a wide-legged twist. Now pick the right hand up and then rotate the left hand down, reaching the right hand high. The spine's still nice and long. Can you stack your right shoulder over your left shoulder so you're getting a really nice spinal rotation? Now pick the left hand up and rotate the right hand down, press it into the mat, reach the left hand high. Now the right hand lifts and the left hand comes down. And right hand or left hand lifts and the right hand comes down. This is the last one. Pick that right hand up and rotate the left hand down. Now work on stacking that right shoulder over the left shoulder. And then bring the both hands down. The hands are pressing into the mat right below your shoulders. Now walk the hands forward, keeping the hips exactly where they are in space. This is a wide-legged downward facing dog. Keep your spine nice and long. Just like we do in a normal downward dog, press the tailbone up and back as you press your hands into the mat. That'll help you keep your spine long. Let the heart melt down towards the mat and release your head. Let the head drop down. You don't need to hold it up. Now slowly walk the hands back below or between your legs and spin the fingers around now so the fingers are pointing towards the back. And keep walking the hands back. Let your head drop down. This is a really, really deep, wide-legged forward fold. See if you can bring the weight more into the front of the feet, trying not to sit back into the heels. And now press into the pinky toes a little bit more. Take a deep breath, and on the exhale, let your head drop down. Whew. Now walk the hands back so the hands end up under the shoulders. Arms come out to a T now. Press into the pinky toes and rise, nice and slow. So I keep looking for four-leaf clovers in the grass. I just can't help it. Reach your arms high and exhale the hands to heart center. Now pivot on the left heel, bending the left knee. Come to Warrior Two. Some of you are facing away. That's actually everybody's facing away mostly, aren't you? Almost everybody. Now extended side angle. Bring the elbow to the knee. Reach with the right hand. Stretch it out. Press into the back of that right leg into the pinky toe. On an inhale, rise to reverse triangle pose, straightening the forward leg, reaching up and back with the left hand. One more breath here. Now bring the arms out to a T. Move slowly. Palms face down. Press into the right foot. Reach the left hand forward into triangle pose. Left hand comes down. Reach the right hand high. Two more breaths. Stay with it. Looks great. Now left knee bends as you rise. Settle back into Warrior Two. Now straighten the left leg. Pivot on the left heel so the toes on the left foot point to the left. And then pivot on the right heel. Bend the right knee and find Warrior Two back towards the front of your mat. Now extended side angle pose. Elbow comes to knee. Reach with the left hand. Really stretch it out here as we come towards the end of our standing portion of our practice. Rise to reverse triangle. Right leg straightens. Reach up and back with the right hand. Press into that right foot now so you feel a stretch along the right side body. And now the arms come out to a T. Press into the back foot. Reach the right hand forward. Drop it down. Triangle pose. And breathe. We had about 5 breaths on the other side. We'll do the same here. See if you can come close to stacking your left shoulder over your right shoulder. Maybe lift your gaze up so you're looking towards the blue sky and clouds. One more breath. Now, bend the right knee and bring the left hand down, come up onto the ball of the left foot. Then bring the left knee to the mat. Heel toe your right foot over to the right a little bit. We're coming into lizard pose. Bring the elbows to the mat if you're able to. So the forearms and the elbows are resting on the mat. And now bring your focus to the outside of that right hip. And just notice the wonderful stretch that you're getting there. You can pull that right knee in towards the right shoulder if you like, or you can let the knee flop out. Either way will change the way the pose feels. And one more breath. Now keep the elbows or forearms on the mat, and forearms on the mat. Tuck your toes and bring your right knee off the mat, straightening the right leg. And then step that right foot back into Dolphin Plank pose. In Dolphin Plank pose, your hips, your shoulders, and your heels are all going to be in a straight line. This is a wonderful pose for building heat and core strength. Engages most of the muscles in the body. One more breath. Now walk the feet forward into Dolphin Pose as the hips rise up. Remember, this is pretty much like downward facing dog, except you're on your elbows and forearms instead of on the hands. Release the knees to the mat, and then tuck your toes and lift your hips into downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. On an inhale, reach your right leg up. Find three-legged dog, opening the hips to the right. The right knee bends. Now level the hips and bring the right foot down. Glide forward to plank pose. And then lift your hips, downward facing dog. As you inhale, the left leg rises. Lift it high. Three-legged dog on the second side. Open the hips to the left. Good job. Now level the hips. Step your left foot all the way forward so it ends up between the hands. And spin the right heel to the mat and rise to Warrior Two. Second Warrior Two series on our second side. Bend that left knee a little bit more. Now extended side angle pose. Rise, reverse triangle, right leg straightens now. Press into that right foot and then reach up and back. Now notice, is your right shoulder more or less over your left shoulder? Or are you kind of pulling that right shoulder forward and down? If you are, open it up. So stay nice and open in the pose. Now the arms come out to a T. Both legs are still straight. Press into both feet. Now check in with your hips. Where are your hips in this pose? Are they parallel to the long edge of the mat? Or are they facing more to the front of the mat? What I'd like to see is them more parallel to the long edge of the mat. Reach the arms out. Now press into the back foot, reach the right hand forward, or left hand forward rather. Drop it down, reach the right hand high. Coming into triangle pose. 5 breaths, just like we did on the other side. Keep reaching up through that left hand, or right hand rather, opening up the heart on the right side to the sky, maybe looking up. One more breath. Beautiful. Right knee bends now. Rise to Warrior Two. Take a breath. Now straighten the right leg. Bring that left hand down. Right hand follows. Come up onto the ball of the back foot. Let's find a lizard pose on our second side. So the elbows come down to the mat if you can. That left knee is bent, and you're really going to start to feel it in the hip on the left side. You can let your hips drop down a little more if you're able. 2 more breaths in lizard pose. And one more. Now with the elbows still on the mat, tuck the toes and bring the right knee off the mat. Step the left foot back into Dolphin Plank. Bring your hips down a little bit so the hips are aligned with the heels and with the shoulders. So we're looking for a long straight line there. And now walk the feet forward to Dolphin Pose. The hips lift up, spine stays nice and long. So press your elbows into the mat and reach your tailbone up and back. And that's it. Let it go. Bring the knees to the mat. Let's find child's pose. Knees come apart towards the edges of the mat. And press your hips down towards your heels. Reach your hands forward. Four more breaths. Total of 5 breaths in child's pose. Whew. Just let that forehead rest on the mat. If your forehead doesn't reach the mat, cross your arms and just let your forehead rest on your forearms. Two more breaths. And one more. And slowly come up out of child's pose. And then bring the knees so that they're hip width apart and come up to kneeling. And what we're going to do now is a half camel pose. We haven't done that in a long time. So bring your left hand, the palm of your left hand to your left heel. And remember that the toes can be tucked or untucked. So if you tuck your toes, the heel will lift up about 2 or 3 inches. And then reach the right hand up and look up towards the thumb on the right hand. Press the hips forward. One more breath. Now slowly come back up. Reach both hands up and overhead. Bring the palms to the thighs and let your hips drop to your heels. Whew. Take a breath. How's everybody doing? Good? It's really nice just to come out and breathe for an hour, isn't it? Yeah. On an inhale, rise up to kneeling again. And reach the left hand up. Bring the right hand down to the right heel, or whichever side you didn't do last time. And then reach up through the other hand. Lift your gaze up so you're looking towards the thumb on the extended arm. Press your hips forward a little bit more. So you're starting to feel a stretch in the hip as well as the muscles at the top of the leg on both sides. And then release. Bring both hands up. And exhale the hips down. Bring the palms to the thighs. Elbows tucked in nice and close to the body. Bring the shoulder blades together a little bit. Whew. Draw your navel in just a bit more. And let's come to a seat now. Once you're seated, bend your knees. And we're going to do a reclining version of figure 4. So I want you to come down to the elbows with the elbows under the shoulders and then walk the feet back towards your butt until you have about a 90-degree angle, 90-degree bend at the knees. Now pick the left ankle up and bring the left ankle to the right knee. And then use the strength of your left leg to press that left knee away. Couple more breaths. Just opening up that left hip even a little bit more. I feel that on the outside of my left hip quite a bit. And then let it go. And bring the left foot down. Check that 90-degree angle again at the left knee, and then bring the right ankle to the knee. And use the strength of that right leg to press your right knee away. 3 more breaths. And 1 more. And let it go. Now bend the knees and hug them in towards your chest and then roll all the way down to the back. Once you find yourself on your back, reach your heels to the sky in legs up the wall pose. Take a deep breath, and on the exhale, if you want to, bring the toes up and overhead into plow pose. Otherwise, remain in legs up the wall. If you're in plow, bring your hands to your low back and lift your legs into shoulder stand. And if you were in legs up the wall and you want to move into a version of shoulder stand, feel free to do that now. Now everyone bends your knees, and if your hips are up off the mat, release them down so the tailbone comes down to the mat. Bring the arms out to a T, and bring your knees so they're pretty much over your hips. Knees are together. Now supine twist, knees to the left, and let them land there. And let your gaze shift to the right. Then let the knees float back to center and over to the other side. Your gaze shifts to the left here. Try and relax the back of that left shoulder. Let that left shoulder come down towards the mat. And on an inhale, let the knees float back to center. And then hug the knees into your chest. You can bring your forehead towards your knees if you like, rounding your spine. Where did the time go? It's time for Shavasana. Straighten the legs and let your head come down. Go ahead and make yourself comfortable for Shavasana. Maybe that means putting on a top if you've taken that off. And let yourself settle into this, our final resting pose. Sometimes when I'm outdoors, I like to let my eyes stay open in Shavasana. Sometimes it feels like they want to close. Just know that you have those options. And same indoors. If you want to keep your eyes open in Shavasana, feel free to do that. Now come back to the flow of your breath. Just like we did at the very beginning of the practice. And let your focus be on the breath flowing in and flowing out. Nothing else. Just the flow of the breath. Feel it flowing in and feel it flowing out. The constant flow of the breath. One cycle every few seconds, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, and every year of our life. The breath always flowing in and out. How many of those breaths are you aware of? How many have you been aware of throughout your whole life? Hundreds of millions of breaths. Literally. About 13,000 each day. Let yourself truly experience and explore just a few more as you rest in Shavasana, staying with the flow of the breath. Now bring gentle movement to the fingers and toes, and keep your awareness though. Notice what it feels like to move the fingers. Notice what it feels like to move the toes. Stay aware. And when you're ready, bend your knees and stay aware what it feels like as the knees bend. And then roll over to your side. And just pause for a moment now to notice your body resting on your side. Now slowly bring yourself to a seat. When you're seated, bring your hands to heart center, press your palms gently together. And then join me, if you like, in offering loving kindness. May you be happy and well, and may you be safe, and may you be peaceful and at ease. Namaste.